Customers bring you their cars to get worked on, and they have these big boxes full of parts in their trunk. So I burn them because otherwise it's just too many damn boxes filling up my damn trash can. So that's the way I get rid of them. And as full as the bucket is, you can see that I've been burning a lot of boxes. But yeah, anyways, we'll let that burn. Let's get to the whole point of the video here. And yeah, we got the fan running because it's nighttime, but it's still not necessarily cold anymore. It's actually pretty hot for nighttime. Anyways, what do we got? We got the 2016 Honda Civic 1.5 Earth Dreams engine. That is, I like these engines. I think they're good engines. The 1.5 turbos, I think they're reliable. 2016, I mean, this thing's 9 years old, and look at it, still going strong, right? We're replacing wheel bearings, and on both sides. It just was here for brakes front and back, and we noticed it had a wheel bearing issue. What I like about buying the whole entire spindle setup like this is there's very little you have to transfer. Like this lower ball joint, I still have to get off and transfer onto that new spindle, knuckle, whatever you want to call it. But this is the one that was humming, or was it passenger or driver? I can't remember now. But I have to transfer this over. But like, look, I'll make another example. Look in here. You see how rusted out that is? That's where your ABS sensor goes in there. And here's the sensor itself. Let's see if the camera will focus. Hella rust in there. And you gotta be real careful getting it out. You can see where I was biting on it right there with the pliers to get it to come out. Because you take the little 10 millimeter bolt out, but this is like just really wedged in there with the rust. A lot of little surface rust on this car, so stuff doesn't come out easy. Like you take the bolts off and you expect it to just bloop slide out, and no, it takes a lot of manipulation. But look, when you if I didn't get a new spindle that'll have a brand new clean little hole for that sensor to go into, then I'm obviously gonna clean this sensor before I put it in that hole. But you also get new bolts and hardware. So like you see the bolt, look how beat up and rusty it is, like rusty, crusty. And now he's gonna have new freshness. Out with the old, in with the new, out with the old, in with the new. I kind of wish he would have bought new ball joints, but it is what it is. We'll carefully transfer them over and call that a day. Let me show you the other side, because we are doing both sides. Same deal over here. We're gonna transfer this ball joint. See how loose it is? I shouldn't be able to move that so easily. And so the rubber boot is still intact and good, but this is not a serviceable boot. You see it's sealed. There's no nipple to grease it, so you can't re-grease it. You just gotta let it live its course. But can't service it for him, can't grease it for him. The boot is in good condition, but look how loose it is. Dumb loose. That should, if this was new, I wouldn't be able to do this. So that's a sign of wear over the years, but it's still technically good, so we'll put it on there. Not the end of the world. It can be changed later. Same deal over here. I'm gonna clean the rust. That ABS sensor's rust. So when you get new stuff, new stuff's gonna always be nice and pretty, right? So we'll transfer that lower ball joint and start reassembling everything. I'm gonna put a little light coat of grease on this just to keep it from rusting anymore, and clean all this and just clean and put everything back together. I wanted to show the tools it took to do this job. I'm big on Milwaukee, and you know, you don't have to use Milwaukee, but that's what I prefer. So you got your 3/8, your 1/2 inch, your 1/4 inch, your icon hammer. You got a, what size is this? I believe it's a 36. Yeah, 36 millimeter nut for the axle. A couple flathead screwdrivers with thin tip, and another one with a little thicker tip. That was to loosen the axle nut from where it was hammered in to be locked in. So I use the flatheads for that, and to pry back on the brake calipers a little bit and give me a little bit of slack. The snips and these two pliers were actually used to get the ABS sensor out. With the needle nose, I twisted it enough to be able to grab it on both sides with the regular pliers. Then we got a combination of sockets here. We used a deep 19 to get the wheels off. We also used a short 17 and a short 19 for the other bolts, and a 1/2 inch wobbler was used. Over here we used a deep 14 on the sway bar link upper bolt, and your 10 mil on the Milwaukee was used for the ABS sensor that was all rusty. Impact gun, take wheels off and on to do the caliper bracket bolts on the back. The 3/8 was used with the 14 for the sway bar link. Pry bar comes in handy. We got a nice Matco Tools heavy duty pry bar. And hiding back here, we got a ratchet wrench 14 and 12 that we used on the caliper bolts. I cracked them loose just to make sure. They were cracked loose in case I ran into a situation. I got them hung up on hooks from the top of the coil spring going into the caliper bracket, and I just did these brakes, so I don't have to lubricate this. I just recently did, so I didn't need to take all that apart. You don't want weight on the rubber hose, so I hang it so that it's not stretching or damaging the hose. Like I said, I'm at a cleanup position. I clean everything before I do it. Put a little bit of lube on stuff and clean stuff. This is missing some plastic clips. I'm gonna go ahead and hook them up with some plastic clips. But yeah, as you can see, it doesn't require a whole lot of tools, but with this amount of tools, you can change your whole knuckle spindle completely. You're gonna want a new bolt that goes across, like I showed there. And this one was rust on both sides. You get a lot of water buildup there. So we'll be using all new bolts for all that. I use Loctite on all those bolts to make sure they don't back themselves up. The main thing is we have a brand new wheel bearing. Brand new wheel bearing. Even a brand new dust shield. So you have a brand new wheel bearing, brand new studs. Yeah, it's gonna, and then now he's got brand new rotors. The only thing he hasn't done is the shocks, but we'll get to that eventually. Eventually do his sway bar links and his lower control arm, inner outer tie rods, CV axle when it's done. Pretty much rebuild the whole front suspension little by little, but right now this is good enough, as they say. So yeah, there's your tools, there's your parts. I'm gonna put that on the vise, lock it down, and start working that lower ball joint off of there, and turn my fan back on, keep the mosquitoes away, and have myself a good night. But I just wanted to show, if you got a 2016 Honda Civic and you're thinking about, oh, let me just press the wheel bearing in, you're gonna need the wheel bearing spindle, the wheel bearing, the seal, sometimes the knuckle where the bearing and the hub sits in. If it's humming real loud, it warps the metal, and then the new wheel bearing doesn't sit tight like it should, and you don't get the same longevity you do out of it. And not only that, you have to pay extra to get it pressed in if you don't have a press at home. I have a small garage, so it's pretty tight on space, and I'm not gonna have a press in here taking up more room than it's not worth it to have a press. You don't do enough of these jobs to suffice taking up the room. But yeah, it's just better to order the whole spindle anyways. You get a brand new spindle. You can see the condition of the other one, all rusty, crusty, so why not get something brand new and fresh? It's not cheap, I'll tell you that. Either way you look at it, it's not cheap. I think it's cheaper to do it this way than it is to buy everything separately and take it to a shop and get it pressed and everything. But it's still not cheap either way you do it. Doing it this way is better, and it's more cost effective than piecing everything out, and you just get more of a long-term fix than risking, oh well, the spindle itself was warped and damaged and you went ahead and pressed a new wheel bearing in there anyways, and who knows how long that new wheel bearing is going to sing a happy song in there, because the metal you pressed it into wasn't true and round. It was warped and rusty, crusty. So yeah, you're always better off new. And believe it or not, we kind of did the math both between me and him, and it's actually cheaper this way, and he gets a better outcome in the end, long term. So I don't see him getting rid of this thing anytime soon. Wouldn't be smart too. These cars are good. You want to hold on to them as long as you can. But you see the tools it takes. You see the tear down process. I don't have someone here holding the camera, recording me every little stupid step by step. If you don't know how to unbolt this, don't do it. Let someone that does do it. But this isn't to teach you how to do it. This is to give you an understanding of what the job entails and what it actually looks like torn apart, what kind of tools, what kind of parts you should be getting, things like that. That's more of the purpose of the video. And it's also to prove that it was done. So y'all have a good night. I'm gonna let y'all go, put it back together, and go get some shut-eye.